Hello and welcome. Assalamu alaikum. You're watching Greenwich Live Sessions. This is your host Umar Khan, and I'm back with another session, another guest, and yet again I'm very excited. लेकिन आज की excitement थोड़ी ज़्यादा है because आज का जो ये show है वो बड़ा ही exclusive show है because आज के जो हमारे guest हैं he is not a ordinary personality क्योंकि आज हमारे साथ एक रॉयल फैमिली के मेंबर हैं। आज हमारे साथ एक बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग और हिस्टोरिक पर्सनालिटी मौजूद है। उनकी फैमिली इज क्वाइट हिस्टोरिक एंड द थिंग्स दैट टुडे we're going to share is something that you have never read in the historic books क्योंकि पाकिस्तान बनना, उसकी एक पूरी तहरीक के पाकिस्तान का वजूद में आना, वो सारी बात करेंगे। यहाँ तक कि ब्रिटिश राज ने जब टेक ओवर किया फ्रॉम द मुगल सल्तनत, तो उस वक्त मुस्लिम स्टेट्स की क्या सूरत हाल थी और क्या कुछ था, वो सब आज वी गोइंग टू टॉक अबाउट। और इसके लिए हमारे साथ रॉयल फैमिली के मेंबर मौजूद हैं। टुडे वी हैव विद अस प्रिंस हैदर क्लार्क ऑफ स्टेट बिजनौर and let me introduce him because I've got so much to say, so I'll take a little longer. So he's also has the title of Clark Lewis, that he will tell us about what these titles are, because we ordinary people have no clue how a royal family member and royal family works around. He is also an international fashion model. He's also a business partner in Clark's Award Hotel. He's the president and chairperson for SEF, a social activist for gender equality and women empowerment, free education to remote areas, Indo-Pak peace, Kashmir agenda, preserve art, culture, and heritage. Prince Clark is a performing artist of contemporary Bharatnatyam and Kathak. He's a peace ambassador of U.S. Department General Higher Commission. He's also an English news anchor at Park News and author of 3 books. Prince Mira Haider is the Crown Prince of State Bijnor, son of Her Excellency Princess Sayyida Alia Zedi, and His Excellency Sayyid Mira M. Araz Zedi. He is the grandson disciple of Raja Sahib Mahmudabad, co-founder and financier of Tehreek-e-Azad Pakistan, alongside our great guide Muhammad Ali Jinnah and Rais-e-Azam Raja Mira Azaz Sahib of Bijnor, who also had the title Pillar of Gold given by Queen Victoria. He is also the recipient of Royal Order of Yildamir Khan Sahib, ICCR Title Award India, Excellence Award, and Tamgha Khidmat Pakistan. So I hope I did not make any mistake. Welcome to the show, Prince Haider. Hope you're doing well.
Adab, thank you so much for the invitation.
You're most welcome. And yes, Adab, we're not very used to having royal people on our show. So this is the first time. So it's something to add on to my experience as well. But thank you so much for your time, and thank you for being so kind, for being part of Greenwich Live Sessions today.
Pleasure. It's pleasure to hear from you. It's pleasure to listen from you. Thank you so much, Umar.
You're most welcome. Now, let's start off this conversation from this whole COVID situation that we know we're stuck in. It's been over 5 months, and now we're coming towards new normal life. Things are coming slowly and gradually towards the normal side. But talk us through, because you're so much into the social work and people look up to you. And as I introduce you, you have such an occupied day. How this COVID affected you, your life, your work, and how did you adapt it to it accordingly?
See, if the first of all, when you talk about the COVID actually means a restriction where you cannot go anywhere. You will not be able to work properly. Definitely, your personal life to your professional life gets badly affected. The thing is, something like that. My work was badly influenced because we have the family business. What we owe is actually the hotel business. What we have in India. So when there would be no guests, there would be no ceremonies, there would be nothing to do over there. So definitely you wouldn't be earning anything out of it. So what you have to do is this: you have to pay from your own budget, your personal budget, to your employees for your bills, for your taxation, and multiple more preliminary expenses that what takes place. In the meanwhile, when it comes to your personal life, you are unable to go anywhere. You get badly occupied in your own residence. for numerous days. That anxiety what develops in you, the person who's so active, he goes everywhere, probably he's unable to meet anyone. I mean, the person who lives in the heart of a city where people come to meet you, and you will not be able to meet a single person except few of those who live with you. That's it. Neither
True.
even those people are so much like occupied and restricted into the residence that they cannot go outside. And this is really harsh. It's so hard. It's like a second Kashmir you're living in India. So, so this is so weird to live. But this is kind of a disaster, whatever you call, from the God that has given an alert sign or a warning to get alert, to help people and to be their support. And I hope people can learn something out of it.
Absolutely, where there's so much trouble, especially if I talk about India, the rising of coronavirus in India is
Yeah.
absolutely, so disastrous because the numbers are growing and growing and growing. Things here in Pakistan are much more controlled, but I'm very worried because there are human lives on stake, and the way things are growing, it's something that everyone around the globe is very, still in
Affected.
danger about. And now let's just talk about the whole journey because there's so much to talk about, and I'm so
Like
excited about today's session because there's so many things that I want to ask you because I have only seen these royal palaces and this royal life and how you guys roam around and with all the titles. You yourself have like 5 to 6 titles. Like you're also called the Yuvraj, Shahzada, Prince, Clark Lewis, and the lots of tamgas and all. So I'll be talking about each and everything one by one. But let's just start off with the historic, stories of your family because your journey starts from Iran to Turkey and then India migration. So just talk us through the whole khandan and the whole shajra, जो आपका सदियों से चला आ रहा है.
Perhaps Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, I would say that the Shajrai Nasab, what I particularly belong, it's like around 1400 years old. It has a great connection with the family of Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So I am actually from the Hira of Imam Zain Abidin alayhi salam. My father's side is Najibut Tarafain, they both are Sayyid. My mother's end is Sayyid plus Ghair Sadat, and they belong from the first caliph. But the thing what makes us come together is something like that. We follow the terminology of following Ahle Bayt, the five selected ones, the five members of the family of Prophet. But this is
Right.
where what we both follow. And this family, this thing started all the way from Iraq. I would like to take you back to 10th century or 12th century when Fatimid Khilafat was there. So Fatimid Khilafat is one of the oldest Khilafats. It was located in Iraq, and it was spread all the way from Syria to Nigeria and Africa. And in the meanwhile, the caliphs ruled all the way from 10th century to 12th century. And this period was around 1160. 1160 was the period when I'm talking about this particular dates. But the problem is this: no matter what we guys call ourselves, Muslims or what, but there is a history, unfortunately, which is a fact, a practical fact that people have been fighting badly for for the lands. They have a greed. So, in short, you कहने को आप you are a Muslim, but unfortunately, people are fighting for lust, greed, land, power. So, if
Right.
you will see bunch of khilafats coming on, the one thing would be common is getting a grip on the power. This is something which is very common. So Fatimid Khilafat, my father's family was a part of Fatimid Khilafat. So when in the last 12th century, in 1171, the Fatimid Khilafat was attacked by Abbasid Khilafat. So
Right.
and Abbasid Khilafat had my forefathers, which belonged from the first caliph. These both were not exactly the rulers, but because they were more into this, spiritual and darbar system, so they both belonged to Fatimid Khilafat and Abbasid Khilafat. Time
Right.
crossed on, and when you talk about the attacks, Mongols are very much
Oh yeah.
known people who later became a modern, and they call themselves Mughals. The Mughals is basically It's basically a modern name for Mongols, who are very gypsies, who were the people who are great attackers. They used to have this very wild background. So Mongols attacked
Even
Abbas.
if we talk about the Ottoman Empire, the
Yeah,
Osmania Sultanate Osmania,
exactly.
the conqueror that the whole series that's very viral these days around Asia
Yeah,
specific. Even the conqueror Ertugrul, the father of Osman, he was also, a nomad guy who
yeah.
was जो खाना बदोश लोग थे, and they just conquered. So in every start of every state, there's one conqueror who starts it, and then things build up and all. So I totally get the point, and even the title of Khans, the race of Khans, also is derived from Mongols as well.
Yeah. Okay, but I would like to make a little, exception to it, that all the Khans actually doesn't belongs to Mongol, because
Hmm.
when you talk about the Ghair Sadat part, right? So
Hmm.
you will see a Khan tribe also emerging from the Abbasi Khilafat.
Hmm.
So this, and that's where my family of my Nanihal, a little of my Nanihal belongs from.
Right.
Rajshahi Mahmudabad's family, right? So
Right.
Abbasid Khilafat was badly affected when Genghis Khan attacked in 1258. Yeah, in 1258, Genghis Khan attacked Baghdad. These locations, these residences, these mansions were one of the biggest Persian emperors once, a long time back, and they were the most established cities of their own period. Even if you talk about the Sultanate Usmania that you were talking about, right?
Right.
You are actually directing my topic towards the Turk, right? So I
Right.
will take you to Turkey. When Abbasid Khilafat was attacked by Mongols, our forefathers had to leave their space and their posts, and they had to grab whatever they could grab from their estate and their property and their finances, and whatever they had assets. They traveled over there to Turkey. But
Hmm.
unfortunately, Turkey was already quite built up. They already had their own sultan, as you talked about, and already having a sultan and moving to a place where you are already from a royal family, it's difficult to merge and live together
Right.
with the respect, because nobody would like to call a gypsy. Nobody would like to call a person who's a refugee, especially from a
Hmm.
royal family. So spending time in Turkey was not really very good when the family moved. And these
Which
both
year are
families.
you talking about? Which year are you talking about?
I'm talking about in 1258 when Genghis Khan attacked.
Prince, I think there's a little confusion. Genghis Khan died in 1227.
Yeah,
So I
I'm
think,
sorry.
yeah, so
His
there's some,
grandson, sorry, his grandson.
yeah, so his, maybe you're talking about August, his son, or his grandson,
Yeah,
maybe. And the Sultanate Osmania started in 1301. So
exactly.
the first Sultan was the son of Osman, and that was Orhan. So the
Yeah.
first Sultan was Orhan, and he came in around, I think, 1320-ish, something like that.
Yeah, I'll guide you to that particular path as well. See, when
Right.
in 1258, see, Genghis Khan is actually a name, he's a brand of his
Yeah.
period. So,
Hmm.
what happened in the royal families, what happens into the rulers, or the people who are attacking, what you feel proud is when you
Hmm.
go to a certain city for even to attack some city, you
Yeah.
always say, I am the son of this father. Are you getting my
Yes.
point? Of this father,
Yes.
they always take the name of their father. So this is where
Hmm.
Genghis Khan's name appeared for the first time in Baghdad, and people
Hmm.
were like, This is the army of Genghis Khan,"
Yes.
because in the very initial period, Genghis Khan was not really that affected, or big affected towards the Baghdad. There have
Right.
been rivalries earlier as well, but there wasn't that big rivalry on Baghdad, which his
Hmm.
grandson made on his name. So it
Yes.
was like that he brought his grandfather's name to Baghdad. Are you getting my
Right.
point?
Yes.
Then again, like we're talking about Sultanate Osmania, so definitely when Abbasid Khilafat, all the way we had to, because when you were robbed, you were attacked in Baghdad, so definitely you cannot just take your things and just run away. You take time. You take time of days, weeks. It could be months as well. So which
Years.
period?
It takes centuries. It takes centuries to build a
Exactly.
state. It takes
Yeah.
centuries, of course.
So from that Baghdad Abbasid Khilafat, the families, because there was a continuous attack in the Baghdad.
Right.
It was not like कि कोई बंदा आएगा और आपके ऊपर हमला करेगा और फिर आप फौरन भाग जाएंगे निकल के, ऐसा नहीं होता, because it's you live in a region right, and leaving your entire property back was not the option. तो कुछ चीजें
Right.
बेचनी पड़ी सस्ते दामों के अंदर, कुछ छुपा के लेके जाना पड़ा. They were, because you cannot leave all the things for themselves, for those people who are attacking you. You have to
Prince,
take.
let's talk about the time era of the British Raj so people can connect a bit more. Because
I'm coming towards it. I'm coming towards it. Okay. So in 1258, when these families, these both families moved with period. They were intervals when they moved. First, Raju Sahib Mahmudabad moved to this Turkey, and then the families of Sadat and Hector moved to the towards this Turkey. But the possession and the condition was same, that they were not able to establish the empire because empire over there was already established. The politics of Genghis Khan family was already approaching Turkey, so they were not able to establish their homeland over there, and the politics was really on hype. People to crush them were already active to take a grip over them. So they had to leave Turkey all the way in 1250. No, not 1258. It was, I guess, 1256.
yeah, it was around 1250s where the Mongols they left Turkey, and things were in control of the start of and build up of Ottoman Empire. So let's just move towards the British Raj era now, where
Exactly.
the fall of Mughal Sultanate was there, and there's so much hard stories from your family as well, that you lost so much. All the court cases, and especially the price that your family paid for creating Tehreek-e-Pakistan, and supporting and financing that and staying in India. It was like a curse for you guys that you lost all of your property. It was confiscated by the government as well. So let's just start from
Uh,
that
I will
British.
not give any political statements because I guess I'm on the media right now, and there must be a lot of people who are watching me. So definitely, I don't want to be,
Okay, I'll take
stabbed
that
with the
back.
gun.
I'll take that back, but I'll share some very historic pictures, and
Yeah, sure.
you can just, talk us through that what moments and what memories are there, because there's so many interesting pictures, especially that I have today in store. So right now, what do you see on screen? Can you just talk us through what this moment was?
This picture actually belongs from a period when the Bijnor family and Mahmudabad family were properly established in Bijnor state and Mahmudabad state. But unfortunately, after the Mughal rule, Mughal rule, this actually picture belongs to Rani Sahib of Bijnor, the Rajmata of the Rajmata of the Bijnor state. She was leaving the palace. She was really young. She was having a very young child prince with him, and she was leaving the palace. The reason was that the British attacked the palace. Coming to the British was there on the invitation of the Mughals. See, every each emperor have certain weaknesses or mistakes what they make, because no one is God, right? So
Right.
Mughal rule in the end made a very big mistake, that they invited the British to work and trade with them over period. That that consistency of arrival of British and their army and their ambassadors and the ministers made the country weaker, and actually they tried to infect a virus of divide and rule policy
Okay.
in the sector. So with time, when they get a grip over the Indian sector, the Indian region, what they did was that they overruled the Rajas and the Maharajas. So Rajas and Maharajas were really in a shock, in a very big shock, that they were not willing to, because they already were suffering the term Mughal Sultanate. But with time, being a Muslim, they somehow got settled with them over period. And initial period with Mughal Empire was not really good, honestly speaking, because unfortunately they were same Mongols what they left in Iraq, if you remember. So now they were over here once again, so in a different form, in a very efficient way. So over here, what they did was that they tried to be friends with them over time. What they used to do was that they used to exchange men and women in form of their sons and daughters to maintain upper class system and
Yes.
to keep a very friendly terminologies with them. The properties were exchanged in the form of gifts, in the form of jewels, in the form of association with each other. And and after certain years, a gap of Mughal Sultanate rulers, the Rajas Maharajas came closer to them, especially the Muslim rulers got
Right.
attached to the Sultanate of Awadh. Awadh is
Right.
a big region which hold multiple of regions and states, and each state had their own Raja. The
Yes.
one who was the former king was now the Raja of the state. The former king became the current Raja now. Anyway, one level decrease, unfortunately. So Mughal rule made their weakness, and they let the British access the India. And when British tried to overcome them, they really felt bad about it. Nawab Wajid Ali Shah was the last Nawab of Awadh. His son was Burgess Qadar, and Begum Hazrat Nehal was the second wife, who was the most dominant queen of Awadh at that time. Awadh was much like Mumbai and Delhi, like the current, posh area, like what you guys call in DHA and Clifton are the posh areas. At that
Mhm.
time, Awadh, the Lucknow and Faizabad were the most posh areas of the period. So
Of
what
course.
all Nawab used to do is this: they used to go to Lucknow and Faizabad and enjoy their peaceful period with literature, art, music, and have some gamblings and gossips and political discussions. So that was the hub
Right.
for the rule of the Mughal and the Muslim period. But
Right.
unfortunately, that was also the central of the Queen Palace, where other Rajas established their small establishments around the Awadh Sultanate. Apart
Right.
from their original regions, right? Like Bijnor, second establishment was located in the heart of Lucknow.
Yes.
See, so that was the second establishment of Bijnor. In the very meanwhile, Mahmudabad, my Nanhial, right? The Bijnor is my Dadhial, Mahmudabad is my Nanhial, and we also have a very great connection together. So
Right.
Mahmudabad also had a lot of properties in Uttar Pradesh and in UP and in Lucknow as well. But the palace of Bijnor State, the second establishment, was established in the very close to this Lucknow. It was actually in Lucknow, very close to the palace of Nawab Wajid Ali Shah. Then, when the British attacked and they questioned and they wanted people to surrender in front of them, Hazrat Begum Mahal left us a great sequence of notes and letters to be a part of the battle and become a support towards the entire subcontinent. At
Right.
that time, there was no concept of India and Pakistan. At that
Right.
time, that was the fight of Hindu, Muslims, Sikhs, the Aryans, all the people who were the Rajputana, the Nawabs, they all united together, formed a certain big army and fought against the British. My grandfathers, Raja Sahib Mahmudabad and Raja Sahib Mira Izaz Ali was very younger. His father Imtiaz Ali was the current Raja at that time. So he and Mahmudabad strived the palace and the British the British, the British. It's called the British. Locations where they have their own regimes of army coming up. So they attacked that zone, and British attacked them back in the meanwhile. So
Right.
things with over time, and this battle prolonged for several months. This battle actually prolonged for several months, and with time the Nawabs came to an end. With the time, the Mira Ibraz Ali was forced to be captured. In the meanwhile, the Mahmudabad palace was badly affected by the bombardment because it was close to Lucknow, not exactly in the Lucknow, it was close to Lucknow. In the meanwhile, the Lucknow Palace of Bijnor state, the second establishment, was completely bombarded and destroyed, and the British never let that particular residence come up because it was exactly in the heart of the palace of the Nawab Wajid Ali Shah. So if they will permit them to develop that particular, castle again, it was like a big insult towards the entire British, British हुकूमत, what you guys call in Urdu. तो उस टाइम पे फिर ये हुआ कि बिजनौर की वापसी की तरफ जब when Raja Sahib was returning, so he got a messenger. A messenger is a person who's called Qasid. Qasid is a
Hmm.
person जो आपके पास messages लेके आता है, ठीक है? Qasid came to him and told him कि भाई राजा साहिब हमारी जो हमारा प्रॉपर्टी है पहली establishment है जो नेटौर में placed up है, इस पे भी हमला होने वाला है और
Right.
we have already informed people that कि सतर्क रहें, they call सतर्क, stay aware,
Hmm.
stay alert, सतर्क रहिए और and Rani Sahiba is alone over there, the Rajmata is alone over there, the Maharani Sahiba is also there, and the Kuwar. The Kuwar means young prince is also there in the palace.
Right.
So on his way back, when he was returning, uh, they got to know that the palace has been attacked,
Right.
unfortunately. So the Mira Izaz palace was badly destroyed, and
Yes.
fortunately, it was rebuilt once again. But the Maharani left the palace with Rani Sahiba and the Kuwar. You might have seen that picture, what you were showing me.
I'll share some pictures of the castle as well. You can just talk us through
Yeah,
if
this belongs from the Lucknow palace, which was in the heart of the in the heart of the Wajid Shah's zone. And this palace was never built again because if this would have gone built again, this would have given a big insult to the British. So they did not let this thing come alive once again. And now
right.
it's just a form of a historical location in the heart of Lucknow. So this is the second establishment of Bijnor state.
Right.
Then comes the first Nehtor, Salat Nehtor, which is located in Nehtor, the first establishment. This establishment was affected, but Raja Sahib himself was hiding in. There is a very small village called Pakhanpur village.
Right.
Pakhanpur village was a place which these people of Pakhanpur were very loyal to his Raja,
Right.
my grandfather, sorry, great grandfather. So since
Right.
they were very loyal towards the family and family was very supportive to their Raya and their Praja, in the meanwhile, they let the things be safe for him and hide him for several years. They provided him food and helped him. And he was
Which
under,
year are we talking about here? Which
I'm talking
year?
about Rajasthan Mijnor.
No, no. Which year? Which time
This
period?
year is after. This year is actually after 1857 because in
After
1857 the
the time.
destruction of Siege of Lucknow took place. So after 1857, he was hiding all over the Pakhanpur village for several years to not be killed because the Queen Victoria wanted her dead. She wanted his head actually off. It's like this. So
I
after several years,
even the last of the Mughal dynasty ruler Bahadur Shah Zafar, he
Delhi.
ran away as well, but all of his sons were hanged within his palace. So that was the
Yeah.
time what we have read in the history that all princely states rajas, it was ordered to kill all of them. So your great grandfather is one of them.
Yeah, exactly. Because the people who stood against the queen, the empress, were supposed to be killed. They were supposed to be called Baghi, Bagawat ki hai. I mean, there were multiple abusive words used for the sultanates and the period what rajas were owning. But with time, when in 1877 the new Queen Victoria was launched and got titled as the Empress of India, the new Queen Victoria came up. So at that time, in that particular period, देखो पहले तो they were already not able to handle the rajas because they were hiding. तो ये
Right,
भी बहुत बड़ी इंसल्ट थी कि पकड़ नहीं पा रहे हैं, इतनी बड़ी ब्रिटिश कम्युनिटी है, राज जीत गई है बट राजा साहब को नहीं पकड़ पा रहे हैं. So this was a very big tamasha on their face. So finally what they said, they associated a title with him and they called him Baghi, and his son who was 2 years old, the Raja said Mira Izaz Ali, Baghi ka beta, and he was titled as Pillar of Gold, means it was a beautiful title with a slang word Baghi. Pillar of Gold, Baghi. It's written there in the book of History of Bijnor, which is still available in the Oxford, sorry, in the Museum of London. It was again replicated and written by Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, and he wrote very well about Nehtor and the families of Nehtor and the Bijnor family states. And he was very happy when he visited, Bijnor. In the meanwhile, when Mahmudabad was attacked, Mahmudabad Palace was reconstructed definitely within years with the help of Riaya, means the Praja, means the people around who live, the audience. And then there came a period where we started the word called Tehreek-e-Azadi Pakistan,
right,
because
And
British.
I've got a very, very historic picture. Sorry to cut you off here, Prince, but I'll share that very historic picture here because this is something that everybody needs to see. Here we can see your grandfather
Yeah,
alongside the Qaeda Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, the founder of Pakistan as well. But uh, I want you to talk us through about the details and talk us through about the other things here. Just talk us through what Tehreek-e-Pakistan was, because your grandfather was the financier and founder of Tehreek-e-Pakistan.
yeah. Tehreek-e-Azadi Pakistan was an aspect, honestly speaking, an aspect of freedom, because there came a period in history when people wanted freedom from all the rulers. They were not really happy with anyone. They were not
Right.
happy with anyone actually. So
Hmm.
they said कि हमें आज़ादी चाहिए. And in the
Right.
meanwhile, India was already fighting with a lot of things, a lot agendas basically. They were like they were agendas like. Okay, now Hindus were scared of Mughals. They did not wanted Mughals to come back because
Right.
British was with time it was coming to an end. Then they were Muslims. They were Muslims were not really happy with these what do you call it with Hindus, because Hindus were not really supportive to them. They were being very helpful to the other parties like
If you can come
what
in the center of the camera, it would be good for the audience so we can see you properly.
yeah, I'm sorry that my camera is actually a bit like
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know what's
okay.
happening to it.
These
I hope
things
it's
happen in live session. That shows that we are live and it's not recorded.
we are live. We are very
Yeah.
well live. So
Right.
the thing was that Indian Hindu, it's not Indian. The word Indian came very later on. The thing was that Muslims did not want it to be a part of any Hindu rule, because they have been Maharajas and Rajas before the Mughal rule, so they were also very harsh. In the
Right.
meanwhile, the initial Mughal rule was very horrible for the Hindu and their own people who were the heads at that time. So they
Right.
did not wanted any of the person to come up and be a part of their be a part of their sovereignty, or be a part of their kingdom. They wanted their freedom. So the aspect of freedom, when it began in Hindus, there the Congress was launched. And after Congress, the launching of Congress, my grandfathers, especially the Raja Said Ahmedabad, he started talking about the Muslim state.
Right.
Initially, the Muslim state face was much like that. We need a state in India, which is a bit like away from the Indian sector and territory. We never wanted the partition. We never wanted. I would like to correct this thing. This is a great, what do you call it? Like, this is a great confusion in the entire history. People always say that my family wanted the partition. My family never wanted the partition.
Hmm.
See, there are consequences with time which takes place, and with those consequences and those political agendas and that divide and rule policy which was there in the mind of the people, this actually hypes up somehow. So we never wanted to separate out. We always wanted the Hindus to live peacefully in their sector and region, and Muslims to live in happily in their own area. We never wanted partition. But then with time, things became so crucial. They became so crucial that the concept of Tehreek-e-Azadi-e-Pakistan came into being. And
Right.
this is the period when from Congress, Jinnah was a very good family friend of Rajasthan Mahmudabad and Mira Brotherly Reddy family. So he was brought up, and after bringing him, the concept of living alone and separate began. This
Hmm.
got hyped and strengthened like so much that uh, British had to accept a new nation, because they came up with this decision. I would like to call this terminology again associated with British. British came up with an idea. ठीक है, अगर हम इनको अलग कर रहे हैं तो क्यों ना हम इनकी नेशन को ही अलग कर दें. I get my point. Or else we
Yes.
would have been living into the same
Especially
India.
at the time what politics were played and how Sir Radcliffe, I won't like to call him Sir, that Radcliffe, what he did actually is the way he parted the borders. It was like destroying a country before even it's born, and we're
British
still having this.
always.
Like, if we talk about especially the two nation theory, the whole concept, I don't want to take it to a political aspect, but what we're seeing in India right now is what elaborates the two nation theory. The Muslims, what they're going through, the Kashmiris, what they're going through in parts of India. I think it's something that is against humanity. I would like to keep it very neutral. I'm not talking here as a Pakistani or as a Muslim, but I'm talking about on human grounds. So that two nation theory is very well elaborated in what's happening by the extremist people in India with the Muslims and in Kashmir as
See,
well.
the word extremism is see I never associate the word extremism with any Hindu or any Muslim. The word extremism is actually a mindset. It's the
Right.
evil. When the religion becomes extreme, it's also harsh. When culture becomes extreme, it's a harsh. So it's like giving birth to a taboo. Extremism is giving birth to a taboo or to a weapon which is destructive for you as well and for us as well. So I would not call it exactly like how it's like projected on the media or in the book sometimes, the because हर बंदे को एक बंदे को अपना
Friends,
जज्बात
I
होते
would literally say the media is all sorts, so never believe what you see and hear on the media because you'll never get the 100% truth over there. Prince, I've got so many memories and so many pictures, and we're also short on time. So I'd like to share some beautiful memories. And if
हैं.
you you'll be kind enough to talk us through about those moments and memories. So on screen right now, can you tell us about this picture?
This is Mira. This is Mira Izaz Palace, and my father. I guess he came for his vacations from London. Like he came back to his home, so he was there on the vacations. He studied his engineering from London. So when he came back, and this was the period when he was approaching his mother to get him married because he was in love with my mother, and they met in London. My grandfather thought, my Nanihal thought that he will propose my mother's elder sister, but then he
Okay.
came up with, I don't like the elder one, I like the younger one. My
Oh,
mother
wow.
was 10 years, yeah, my mother was like Princess Alia was 10 years younger to my father. Oh, and they met in London because my khala, my mother's elder, sister, she was studying in London too. So when my mother, she used to visit my khala. So there my father used to meet my mother for the first time. And this is how the love affair started, what you guys call in the modern days.
या तो मॉडर्न डेज की आपने बात की तो मतलब जो आपके फादर थे वो देखते ही मतलब वो बैकग्राउंड में गाना बजना शुरू हो गया पहली नजर ने कैसा जादू कर दिया.
नहीं, इस तरह नहीं हुआ बिल्कुल। देखें, वो भी होता है कि लव एट फर्स्ट साइट, वो भी होता है। बट माय मदर वाज वेरी मच लाइक शी वाज वेरी स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड, शी वाज वेरी ब्लंट। हर
Yes.
हर तखल्लुस वाज तैश, लाइक माय तखल्लुस इज क्लार्क लुइस, हर तखल्लुस वाज तैश। तैश मीans the aggressive one. And she
Yeah.
was the woman his father, sorry, her father loved her the much. Like she was the apple of his eye. So my father used to just watch her, the way she was living, the chiffon sari she used to wear, and the way she used to handle herself, very reserved, cute, short heighted. So my father, with time, he fell in love with her. And because we and the best thing is this: my mother's uh, Dadiyal is later what becomes her sasural. It's like this because my mother's father belonged to the Mira is Ibraz family, and my mother's mother belonged to the Mahmoodabad state family. So
Right.
it's
If I
like,
could share a picture here, we're talking about
yeah.
Jamal. So you can
The first
talk.
picture is probably after the period she got married and she was moved to the Mira Ibraz Palace. The second picture is somewhere she was going to the days very very there is this very noble lady called Rajmata of Rampur, and she was the cousin of my grandfather. First, she was the princess of Pirpur. She got married into the Rampur state, and then she became the Rajmata of Rampur. So my mother was going to meet her. So that was the
Right.
second picture. The third picture was taken in London, and it was during a party where the Princess of Spain was there. You can see in the picture. And the
Yes.
third picture the fourth picture. Sorry, I'm so sorry. The fourth picture belongs to my own home, where my mother, she used to cook. Because in our family, हर वैवाहिक स्त्री का ये वो होता है, क्या कहते हैं, राइट होता है कि वो रसोई घर संभाले. So my
Right.
mother, she used to go to the kitchen and she used to cook for my father and for us sometimes. So ये उसकी picture है कि she used to have a sari tied on her back and with a bindi on, she used to cook for us. So in that fourth picture, she's my mother. In other three, you can see the Princess Alia of
Yes.
Mahmoodabad state. Yes, this is
And
probably right after the marriage.
Yes, we can see that. So these are such historic pictures, and I'm so
Yeah.
excited to share these and get to know the real side of the stories, which as I said in the introduction, that you don't get to read in the history books. I'll share the next one. Here, we were talking about the olden times. So if you can talk us through, this is a
This picture, I'm sorry.
six-year-old back. Yeah, this is a 66-year-old back picture.
Yeah, it's probably 66 years old picture. I guess even a little more older now. He's my Dada Sahib with his kids. In the very of the left, my father is sitting. The small junior Mira Eraz, and in the left, Mira Kaisar is sitting, and the princess. And then he has his martial minister right behind him, which is taking care of him, with a person who is a servant, but he's like a family for sure. So
Right.
yeah, he's Mohan Bhai's son. I know he's the very good guy who have been very supportive to us in the behind the scenes thing. What happens over here to make us who we are.
Wow, I'll share more pictures because there's so much to talk about. Talk us through this historic picture.
This is actually my father's, my father's maternal side. On
Right.
the shorter guy, the Nawab, he's from the maternal side, and these two people were actually my grandfather's cousins. They look young, but they are elder.
Wow. And what about this one?
This picture, okay, this picture is during the end of the British period, or you can say the collapse of the British period was actually on hype, and so probably the Raja Sahib Mira Izaz is sitting over there, and the entire team, the British people are right over there, and you can see how proudly he's sitting, hands folded, the way he always used to sit. So he was the person who was the son of a Baghi, the son of the Pillar of Gold. That's Mira Izaz Ali Zaidi.
Wow. And
And he was an
now,
engineer. He was an
yes,
engineer.
I'll share the next one now. And these pictures are from your family, and we've seen this in the history books.
Yeah.
It's so fascinating to
It's
get to know the sides of the stories.
You will see Sir Syed over here on the
On
left. On the
Yes,
left.
absolutely.
And then you have Raja Sahib Mahmudabad, who was Raja Sahib Hassan at that time, the the forefather from an Nihal side in the middle, and other were the ministers standing next to him,
This is
and
such
Nawab also standing right next to him.
a historic picture. You can see Sir
Yeah.
Syed Khan there as well. I'll share the next one. So
He's also Rajasthan Mahmudabad, but this is probably like two generations back. And because we have some kind of names which have been repetitive in my Nanhial, as
yes,
in an honor. So he's the Rajasthan Mahmudabad, basically the Maharaja of the state, and he was the major lead towards the Tehreek-e-Azadi Pakistan.
yeah, the Prince, if you can talk us through, because we're seeing these medals, and we know that you have titles and you have the
Yeah.
special medals made for your family. So if you can talk us through what these medals are all about, and if you can get
Each
us details.
Tamha has its own honor. Each Tamha has its own honor. It's like a possession of a
Right,
general, a colonel. Like in modern days, if you go to the army, you see the sword of honor. So these are multiple things what you get. In the meanwhile, when you go in the past, these titles and these badges used to represent the civil title and the possession of the Raja or the Maharaja in the entire state of Awadh, means
right,
on what level he is working on. So he
right,
used to get rewarded with a badge. One badge represents his family and his title of his family. Other represents his hierarchy. The next one represents the honor given by the state, the entire Awadh state. So
right.
by the king, like Nawab Ajud Ali Shah, or you say Bahadur Shah Zafar. So
Yeah.
these people used to honor with badges. So this was the way how we used to get titled in an honor to live our pride.
So I'll share some things where you can just talk us through as
This
well.
is Tamrai. Basically, this is Khan Bahadur Tamra, and this belongs to my grandfather, which is now with my father, and this only belongs to the Maharaja of the state or the Raja Sahib of the state, who is the current authority to deal with according to the royal history. So this is
Wow. And I'll share the next one. I believe this is yours.
This is mine. This is Khan Sahib Tamga. I received this Tamga probably in a year back. This belongs to the person who's actually the next Wali ahead of the family, the caretaker, or you'll say the responsible person, or the next. Yeah, I mean, I will, and there's one more Tamga what you get from your family. It's called Order of Yaldaram. So, Order of Yaldaram is actually a Tamga which represents that you are going to be the I mean, I will not say you are going to be the next king, but you are the chosen one, so you can be the prince. It's like a striking hope. Order of Yaldra means the light of hope, or
Right.
the color of hope. So
So,
it actually indicates that you are going to be the next Raja. But I always pray that my father lives and he stays Maharaja, and I'll be happy with that thing only, I
so
guess.
if some time around, if you ever become the Raja, so at least you can give me a royal tour of India.
Yeah, you can still visit us. It's fine. You can still visit us.
But to get a visa of India is a real trouble. So I need your resources, to get to India.
No, I guess you can come when my minister gets normal. So definitely you will be able to visit us.
I'd love to. And now I'll share some childhood pictures of yours with your father. That's back in 1997. So if you can talk us through.
Okay. Okay, he's not my father. He's my elder brother. His name
Okay.
is Mira Jarrar, and he's elder to me. He's also a prince. He's Prince Jarrar, and we actually went to Istanbul through the cruise, right? So
Okay.
cruise for elders, the party, the way they used to party was really amazing. They enjoyed. The elders were enjoying a lot, but we kids were restricted not to go on the deck. Don't go here. Don't go there. So we were badly stuck on the ship. And after certain days, we literally started crying, like, we don't want to stay on this board and we want to get out of it. And, that was the period when my elder brother said, okay, don't tell anybody, but once we will, dock on the yard, the shipyard, I will secretly take you out. So we
Right.
will be able to escape the ship, the cruise, right?
That's
So this
another
is the
picture.
period when we escaped the cruise and we went out for the outing, and we were there for 48 hours. You cannot even imagine. And after returning, we were already late to the cruise, and cruise was waiting for us. Unfortunately, that secret banged out really bad, so we had to return back to the ship, and we traveled back to Bijnor State after certain days.
I have another picture of your brother. If you can talk us through the moment.
Okay, he's not my brother. He's actually that's my sister. That's Princess Zehra. She recently got nikified and she got really married to a
That's
very good
brother-in-law.
Zanat.
That's your brother-in-law.
That's my brother-in-law. That's my brother-in-law. That's Nawab
Wow.
Hassan.
Wow, that's such a beautiful picture indeed. And now I'd really like to know something. When we talk about Prince and the royalties, one thing that we are always very excited about is the way you guys carry yourself. With all the jewelry and the royal suits, and so living a royal life, like, is that only in the pictures, in the movies, in the books, but or in reality, you guys carry yourselves that way? With all those formal attires and heavy jewelries. Is that a reality, or is that just a myth? Because I can see that ring on your in your hand, which is like size of my nose, literally. So, is that a myth or is that a reality?
Well, see, when you talk about the heritage and culture, so and when you are a ruler, you cannot, no matter what happens, we are not forcing democracy to go off, or we are not shattering the democracy, but each person lives his or her background and traditions with pride. So when you have a strong heritage, culture, background to be proud of, to celebrate, so we always invite people to join us in our celebrations. If you don't want to come to the if you don't want to come to the royal associations, you still believe in extra democracy, like avoiding the former royal families or the ruling parties. So I really wouldn't mind, but definitely we would like to live our lives peacefully, happily, and with the same respect and honor and those true colors of our traditions and culture, what we have been embracing for hundreds and thousands of years old. So living that era in the modern period is very essential to preserve it. It's the
True.
same thing that I do with Bharatnatyam. If you see, I perform Bharatnatyam. It's probably like 3,000 years old, but I'm still performing in the same attire what the Devadasis used to perform 3,000 years back. So today
Wow.
I'm in the very meanwhile when I dress up myself, I dress up for my own set. and I cannot even say that I dress up. It actually lives inside me. You know,
Right.
josho kharosh towards the jewelry and atlas ke kapde and makhmal and silk. It's still in my veins. So
Because we have seen all that in Jodha Akbar. Let me be very honest. I have seen all of
yeah.
that in Jodha Akbar only. And now I'll share a picture of yours, you in your formal attire. You know, the ones that we have read in the books, that this is
Okay,
how.
okay. I usually wear these kind of sherwanis and or and
Right,
these matar malas and big the matar mala and the pearls and all and the diamonds, especially in the big ceremonies of a family,
right,
because definitely when you're going to the office you cannot wear all these things. So you need to live those moments again in our own family circle. So we are not we do we always invite people to come and join us, but we cannot even force them to live that way. But since you are that person who have been associated with this particular background, so you have to keep it alive. So it's
right.
the way of living your forefathers, how they live with the pride and honor. And the best part is this: what Safa I'm wearing in this, in this picture belongs to
Right.
my great grandfather. That
Wow.
Safa I'm wearing, yeah.
Now, what I'd like to do here is I'd like to share some pictures of the royal jewelries, because usually you see those in the museum, usually you see those only in the pictures, but this is what belongs to you and your family. So I'll share a bit pictures. I just got them from the internet. I did my research. So like you have to talk me through what this is, and everything has its own specification and heritage. Centuries back. So talk us through about what the particular thing is. So this one right here.
This actually belongs to my great grandmother. What she once gave to my mother, because she was actually having this mushaira in the family, and she was
Right,
very fond of literature. So she used to wear a sherwani and dress up like a man in the haram, and they used to have this mushaira. So my great grandmother, she loved this thing a lot. The way she was active and curious about the literature and art. So as a reward, she gave this thing to my mother, and now it's
right.
with me. Unfortunately,
This
this
is
belongs to my
so
mother.
beautiful. This is so unreal, like literally.
Yeah, these are emeralds and tiaras, and they have been like shipped all the way from UK and Spain, and these emeralds are from Africa, and this set actually is like 300 years old.
And this must be, in millions of dollars.
Yeah, it's really expensive.
Wow. Yeah, I can just imagine how many zeros come in the value of this, literally. I'll share the next one. This is so beautiful as well.
Yes, this was actually a gift from Iran, royal family, and this was given to my grandmother, and now it's a part of our family, treasure. And it's been like I guess 102 or years, something like that.
Wow, that is literally old. I've got this another one. This is, these are one of its kind. Like I have never seen anything like this before.
This is Kalki. This is Kalki. What the Rajas and Maharajas and the prince wear. So it belongs to one of my family member, who's my uncle, and it's completely made of emeralds and gold, enameled, plated, and it's kind of a very royal Kalki. What you wear on your safa on your head, and you
Yes.
can have rubies and multiple diamonds over it. So this is a family piece. What you can
Wow.
borrow from the royal treasure.
Wow. I'll share the next one. And
That's very famous graph from London. It's probably like 100 years old, and it's made by Graph for sure. And it has a beautiful, tremendous diamonds, cut diamonds, and settled diamonds into it. What you can have a look. It's very glowy. It's very radiant when you wear it,
I'm
and
just
it's really
I'm just trying to calculate the worth of this particular one. Yeah, totally. It's out of imagination. I'll share the next one. And this is beautiful as well. Like these are things that you guys send to the museum so the world can see.
I actually, this belongs to me. My mother, see, when it comes to necklace, there are certain necklaces which are big in shape and sizes. So it's like unisets, what a man and woman can wear and share. So this was actually made by my grandfather for my grandmother. My grandmother sometimes used it for my father. So it's a piece which have been traveling into men and women into my family for two generations, I guess, and now it's with me. So you will often see me wearing this thing into the ceremonies when I attend, on the royal eves.
Wow, I'll share a few more because I'm so excited about this. So that's why I'm
That's
sharing.
Rajmala. That's Rajmala. What you can wear on the festives or on the formal occasions when it's Tej or Tehwar or anything like that in the royal family. Or you can even also wear this thing in the weddings because it gives a very striking look to your sherwani.
Absolutely. I'm getting ideas now, but absolutely, the ones I'll wear will be artificial, naturally.
This is actually a kind of a map, not a map, I'll say it's a kind of a graph, which actually shows how the jewels are placed. Because there was a period, there was, and it's from a family. It's a from a family. It's actually a thing that each diamond has its own shape. And
Yeah,
in the past years, cutting the diamond was not a very easy. It's like
yeah,
this. What they used to do is this: they used to bring the diamonds which were kind of similar, not really similar, but kind of similar to each other in the size, and they used to envelope and bind them together, and they used to write what kind of carat they belong to and from which country they have been imported to, in order to keep the record of the diamonds what have been sent to in the state to the royal family, and from which family it has been coming. So it's completely a record in the manuscript what's always mentioned about the jewels.
thank you so much for giving all those details because none of us knew any of it, to be very honest. I'll share more pictures there. If you can talk us through, because now we're coming towards the current time.
He's obviously in Mahmoodabad, my Nana Sahib. Basically, he's my Mamu, he's my uncle, but we call him Nana Sahib in honor because he's elder. He have been fighting court cases and for against the Indian government for because we have been fighting court case, Enemy Property Act court case on our properties because because my grandfather was founder and financer to the Pakistan movement. So on that behalf, he has fought a lot for probably for 42 years. So in respect, we call him Nana Sahib, though he's our uncle, and his two sons, Ali
I,
and yeah,
yes,
and
and this is another
yeah,
very royal picture. I think it's and even in the picture in the background, if you can talk us through.
that's Raja Sahib of Mahmoodabad 2 generations back.
Wow, wow, literally. No, these are the things that I've seen only in the movies, being very honest. All those movies where we see those kind of paintings and all that stuff. And it's so exciting and fascinating to actually
Yes.
get the first hand stories, the real side of the stories. It's so fascinating. I'll share the next one, and then we'll continue our conversation. So here we can see, as you said that you are performing artist. That's Kev Ghaznavi, if I'm not mistaken, with you, who also performs. And we can see you in your attire of the dance that you just spoke about. So,
This actually was Satlada Har from India. My mother, whenever I used to perform or do anything related to the classical, she used to get me a piece of gold, like, I want you to wear this, every festive when something used to happen. So this was Satlada, and this was the last piece what she gave me before my performance, and I wore it on the Banbut Festival in Karachi. And she's Kev Ghaznavi standing next to me, and she's a very old friend now who have been throwing festivals with us. So whenever I come there, I dress up the way I used to dress up.
So here, this is very interesting, because usually people from royal families, the members of the royal families, they don't work, they don't go out. But if I talk about you, you spend a very, a different life. You broke all the taboos. You've been a news anchor, you've been a fashion model, you're a professional Bharatnatyam and Kathak dancer as well, and a very one of the fewest, rarest original ones, because the one we see is not original Bharatnatyam or Kathak. It's just something that's been portrayed as being
Yeah.
Bharatnatyam. So, talk us through your journey, your childhood. You spent your childhood in US, and then you kept on traveling. Your education was scattered in different countries.
Yeah.
But what made you choose this path, and how did you took the permission from your family that you want to do all these things, because this is against traditions?
See, when it comes being to become an artist, it actually, see, the way I live being myself as a prince. I also have a professional side, or a side which is there in me, which you call passion. And passion comes from a very spiritual dimension. If you are passionate about something, whether it's about your literature work, art, your teaching skills, or whatever you do, it comes within you, and it depends on you how you actually portray it in the public, with complete preserved way. So I was introduced to classical at the age of 6. We used to go for summer camps, and there for the first time I saw the fusion of classical dance, and I was like, oh my god, what's that? And I'm a person who explore things. I love exploring. So with time, I started to explore these the forums of classical. There I learned how important and beautiful this particular art form is. And with time, I developed a very spiritual connection with the Bharatnatyam. And my mother was always supportive to me. My father was very open to say that, you're doing classical, nobody will accept you, and you are from a royal family, and there would be a bunch of questions. So my mother was like, see, it's a part of our heritage and culture, especially in India. So what if he stays into his into a certain boundary where he can perform very spiritual aspects? He will be able to serve a passion in a right way. So this is where I joined Bharatnatyam. I got trained all the way from US to India with the leading teachers and the gurus. I have been like. Taught by love, care, and affection. My guru, my initial guru, my teacher, who taught me the initial Bharatnatyam, and then it became more typical with the techniques and because they are techniques of Bharatnatyam, what you learn from different teachers. So with time, I took the workshops, and I became a good Bharatnatyam performing artist. And see, I succeeded with the thing that I broke the taboos that nobody can do this thing. I brought the word Bharatnatyam even to Karachi, all the way from India, and I established a forum for people who see Bharatnatyam. They can understand how Bharatnatyam looks like and what Bharatnatyam is. And it's not mujra, it's not related to something like a cheap forum. It is a very temple performing art, and how badly it has survived over years. Like, not just 1 year, 2 year, it has complete decades what Bharatnatyam have been through, or Kathak. So this is why I perform Bharatnatyam to preserve arts and heritage and culture.
Absolutely, and you mentioned it that people, have huge misconceptions.
Yeah,
That I just said those are ignorant people who are not actually aware of art, because we're talking about an art which is 3,000 years old,
yeah.
and keeping that art alive and performing it on the original level. It's something. I wish I had videos of you performing, so people can actually see what I'm talking about. But indeed, they can go through the internet and search for it, so they definitely find
The
something.
way you said is right.
So they can. I'll add on some comments as well. So we have with us the HOD of Greenwich Media Department, Dr. Sabir Ahmed, and he welcomes you to the program. We have with
Thank
us
you, Sabir.
Ubaid Khan. He says, Sir Prince Heather Clark, nice to meet you. So he's happy to
Welcome, Abed.
meet you. We have with us Sumair Ali, who says, Prince Heather Clark, and he makes a little heart for you. And
Hi.
he's really happy. And we've got with us Sarah Bill, who says, so pretty and so royal. I think
Thank you
that's
so much, Sabir.
about the jewelry. That's about the jewelry, because whenever there's jewelry, there's always women somewhere near that. All right. So we've got with us Noreen Khan, and that's my
Thank you
mother.
so much, Sabir.
And she's also watching the show. She says, very nice and interesting show. So, Prince Heather, as much as I'm loving this show, and we've got so much more to cover, but unfortunately, we're also running out of time. But I'd
Yeah,
like to ask you, during your visit to Karachi, you've also been to Greenwich University. So,
I
what
have.
would you like to say for Greenwich University?
I have been to Greenwich University. I have a bunch of friends who usually I'll say who usually behave like brothers and sisters, and I mean, they have crossed the boundary. Me being Prince and they being Pakistanis, they have been very much friendly to me, and they have been to me. So I would like to tell them that everybody has their own dream to survive in. You have your beautiful heritage and culture and background. Never forget those beautiful things that have been associated to you for several years, and you one wrong step can really remove and erase all that history what you owe, and it's there in your hands basically. So don't let that thing go away. Secondly, I would like to say is this, that we are here in this world for a reason. If we are here, we are sent for a reason. So if we are
Right.
here, so Google yourself, explore your spirituality, because that lives inside you. You use it, utilize, don't use it, I'll say utilize it. Use is something which can not be used later once it's used. So utilize that spirituality and do good for people. I know one day you won't be living like I wouldn't be living after certain years, but definitely your name will live, your good deeds will live, your good thoughts will live in a form
Right.
of your own way. So this is my message to the people over there in Pakistan, and think good, do good, and speak good.
Right. And I'd like to also ask you, how was your experience being here at Greenwich Live Sessions here with me?
It was fun. See, initially, it's always it's alarming because you are on the social media and you always try to control your feelings and emotions, not to speak something really which goes out of hands. Because there are people, like how we say, ignorant people. There are people who are waiting to attack you. So being in my limits, being in the restrictions that I have been bonded with over years. So I'm it's glad to see you, mashallah, after such a great communication we have been having over days. So it's great to see you, mashallah, and I hope people are loving the show, and they will, inshallah, meet me, or I will see them soon again, inshallah, into Greenwich University. And I wish you good luck with your PhD.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think you've done your research as well. Right. So thank you so much, Prince Heather. And it was a complete honor to have you here with us today. And thank you so much for taking us through the journey of history and all the beautiful pictures and historic moments that we shared today, and all the
Welcome.
insight that you gave us today was something completely that many of us never knew, and you added on so much to our knowledge today. And thank you so much for that. Keep smiling, stay safe, and keep doing the wonderful work that you've been doing over the years.
Namaskar.
Right. So you heard Prince Heather, also known as Clark Lewis, and he was here with us. That's how. Actually, I was pretty excited because I've never interviewed anyone from the royal family. I've only seen, we've seen those movies, and we've seen only royal people in the movies or in the storybooks and how things goes like that. But uh, the part was the things that he shared with us, the part of history with all the royal jewelries and all the way that they live and their routine and everything. It was so fascinating at the same time. And yet again, I went down the memory lane of history, and even we saw his great grandfather with Sir Sayyid Ahmad Khan, and we also saw a picture of his grandfather with Qaeda Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah. So indeed, he was the founder and financier of Tehreek Pakistan, and all the struggles that his families went through at that time, and even after the partition, the things that they suffered because of being part of the Pakistan movement. They're still fighting those court cases and still going strong. But indeed, such a humble guy, and he never likes to talk much about the things that he is doing. So he's got a lot of charity work here in Pakistan as well, a lot of charity work in India, and such a wonderful personality. And it was a lovely program. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. This was our session for today. And we'll be back tomorrow with another session, another guest. Meanwhile, you can see all the details of Greenwich University. That is our WhatsApp number 0306 our email address admissions@greenwich.edu.pk, and our website that is greenwich.university, where you can see all the programs that Greenwich is offering. Last date to apply online is 20th September, and the classes are starting from 28th September. The programs that Greenwich is offering includes BBA, MBA, MPhil, PhD economics, finance, banking, as well as media. That includes animation, that includes graphic designing, journalism, radio, TV, and special 50% discount for B.Ed program, Masters in Literature and Linguistic programs, and Masters in International Relations program. So visit Greenwich University and have a feel on your own how life is at Greenwich. So this is your host Omar Khan signing off. I'll be back tomorrow with another guest, another session. And till then, keep smiling, stay safe, stay positive, not corona positive, but positive in life. Until next time, Pakistan Zindabad.